每位父母在抚育孩子的道路上都走过了一段充满挑战的心灵之旅。孩子还小时，怕他长不大，长大了又怕不务正业。教养孩子究竟有没有什么好方法呢？让我们一同聆听金菩提宗师的讲解。
From Grandmaster JinBodhi,
作为第一代
as the first
工作的人，
hardworking generation,
努力的生活与打拼的人，
many of us struggled
多数人是来自
to make a living
经济贫困的家庭，
because of coming from
只能
improvised family.
卖菜
What could we do?
也要
Our only options
从这里开
was setting up a store, selling vegetables and herbs.
道路，那
That was our humble beginning.
非常的痛苦而艰难。
How tough was it back then?
但是
Incredibly tough.
就像大海捞针一样哈，多数拼搏者没办法取得更
Most who struggled like
有
this
少数的
failed to achieve spectacular success,
到
but a
最终呢
few, thanks to abundant merits from past life, managed to achieve
集
success
了更大的财富
and earn great wealth.
真是人生辉煌。
Truly a
但是
glorious
又来
life.
了，发现
However, a new
多
problem
努力地工作
arose.
赚钱，孩子
We found that despite our hard
像
work,
做父母的那样的认真工作，那样的
our
坚持
children
节约
did not share the same
每一个
dedication
部分
and
都比父母多
frugality.
做很多
They just seems a lot weaker than their parents.
这个危机感叫做父母
At this point, a problem
这个
arose.
魔咒。
There's a curse known as wealth does not last for more than 3 generations.
是因为没有出
It states a simple principle.
不到工作，
We work hard because we had no choice, no
谁都
jobs,
瞧不起你，
no
自
partners.
己都瞧不起自己。
We were looked down upon by everyone, including ourselves. Like I said, he started poor.
儿子读书成绩如何呢？
But what about his son's academic grades?
老师说学数学，他也弹钢琴。老师说弹钢琴。
His son simply wasn't interested. The boy simply didn't want to learn.
家庭经济条件比较优越，
It was infuriating. Why? Children from wealthy family usually lacks motivation.
咱们家有这么多钱，我干嘛那么辛苦？
Zhang's sons
所
asked,
以
Why should I work hard when our family is already wealthy?
还有呢，
So children lack motivation
父母亲呢，
when their family is financially
一旦有
comfortable.
机会赚钱哈，
Moreover, our parents were terrified by poverty. So when there was an opportunity to make money,
那么多的
they
时
were
间
too focused on working.
关心他的学
They
业，
couldn't find time to spend with their children, care about their academic performance.
所以我
When they realize their children's situation, it's often too late.
我想着如果能够，我们有机会，
I've investigated many such cases. I hope that we have the opportunity to bring our children or grandchildren here.
不要说我一加持立刻哇，
Don't
智慧
expect
无边
immediate leaps
就可以腾飞起
in
来。
wisdom for our children after one blessing
这
session,
叫教养，这个教养的方
or
法
being able to soar
不要下
instantly.
暴雨。
That would
还
be
有没有
a
人当过
myth.
农民哈？
This is
或者
what we
懂
call
微生物
nurturing.
记
The
得
best
下
way
暴
to
雨的时
saturate the
候
soil
那个土地哈是浇不透的，反而是那个春天那个毛毛细雨下
is
3
not
天
through a
哦
torrential
能够渗
downpour.
进去甚至是1尺甚至1米深，它反而对
Have
土
you
地
farmed
更
before?
滋养更滋润。那个
During
狂风
heavy
暴雨
rain,
来
the
的时
soil
候
is
呢
barely
那个土呢
penetrated.
外面
In
是个软的
contrast,
还是硬
a
的
gentle
还
spring
是白心
drizzle that lasts for
所以
days
狂风
can
乱大
seep
的这
deep
种下
into
雨
the ground,
没有润
even
泽
up to a foot or a meter deep, nourishing the soil far more effectively. The torrential rain merely wets the surface, but leaves the interior hard and dry.
我说的传达
Thus,
的
this
是
kind of
那种
rain
善
would,
良的
while wind
慈
blasting,
悲的那种讯息，
it doesn't bring a
还有利人为
moisturing
善的那种讯息，
effect when
这
it
叫做
comes to parenting. We should frequently and almost inevitably convey
让这个
messages to our
土地上
children.
真正的
I believe these messages should be of kindness, compassion, and
植
benevolence.
物呢才能够
This is what I
更加
call
均衡地
nourishing
慢速地
silently.
生长
Only this way can the soil be
所以
truly nourishing
能够
and
家长带
irrigated,
孩子，
yielding
无论我
vigorous
们
and
家
even
庭的
growth.
经济状况如何，
Parents,
如果有这样的
regardless
智
of
慧
the family's
就
economic
带着孩子
situation,
去做一些
should
慈
engage their
善或者
children
善良的行
in
为，
charitable
无
and
论他
kind
懂不
deeds.
懂事，越不懂事
The
的时候，
earlier
越
we get children to do
我
such
们其
deeds,
实想让我们的
the better
子女
it is.
能够将
If
这
we
个
want
修
our
养
children to be successful in the
要
future,
学会潜移默化的，不
we
要
need to influence them
逼
subtly
逼迫
rather
他
than forcing
让
them.
他跟你一起做你信
It's
仰的事
important to involve them
做信仰
gently
的事
in what you
想带
believe
孩
in.
子哈，说这是好的，一定要压着他
Don't
来
force
不要
them.
这么做，
Instead,
要
learn
学
the
会
gentle
温
way
和的方法
to get them into
要学
doing
会潜移默
charitable
化的
deeds.
啊，让孩子呢开始做一些慈善的、善良
Guide
的
them to help others
帮助人
and do
的
something
利益
that
社会
benefits
的这样的
society.
比如说现在
For
世
instance,
界各国都
now
倡
the
导
world is
环保
prioritizing
比如说
environmental
我们喝的这
protection.
个水瓶子
About this
那你带着它
bottle,
来啊，你看这样多好
you can talk to your
环
children.
保这个问题，这个一个
If a
瓶子
plastic bottle
扔到
is
这个
thrown
野外的
outdoor,
啊，100年都融化不
it
了
won't decompose for
慢慢世界
100
就成
years.
塑料了，连土地都没有了。
Slowly, the world will be filled with plastic, no land
再开
left.
一次去把这个
Although they may have already learned this in
回收
school,
塑料瓶的那个桶，
direct involvement can make them realize
我以为是多难的
that
事
it's
情，原来
not
是这么
hard
容易
as
啊
hard as they
随手
thought.
就能做的一件善事，
It's an easy
它
act
就开
of
始做大的善
kindness
事。哎
that can be done
这个可以
effortlessly.
所以在国外还有小孩说，
This way,
哎
they begin to
我帮助
embrace the
一个
idea
贫
of
苦的
doing
人
good
搭个临
deeds.
时的房子
In some Western
有一
countries,
个
children help
妈
build
没有来
temporary shelters
他挺好。
for the
我看以像是美
impoverished.
国还是加拿大，
There was a case in America or
他发现
Canada
呢，他的后街上哈，一直有一个
where a local
男的
man noticed a homeless
他也给
man
那个人聊
in
过
an
天儿，问了
alley.
一下之后，
After
这个
talking to
人确实
him
因为身体
and
的问题
understanding his unemployment was due to physical
失
and
业了，
intellectual
这是人家
challenges.
小心那个人呢就挤在他们家放垃圾
He
桶
learned that the man was
非常好的一个
sheltering in a nook
槽
behind a
一个
garbage
凹
bin.
槽的一个木板墙的那个地方，就窝在那儿来避个风雨。这个人很善心，
This
他
person
呢本
is
身也
very
是个
kind-hearted.
木工，哎，他算计了一下
He
人
is
家
a
后院那个
carpenter.
板子，他
He
就拿
calculated
着
the area of his
木
backyard
头板子，他也会做嘛，
and then he
他
went
也
to
为这
buy
个流
wooden
浪汉
planks.
在那地方搭了一间小屋，也等于是他们家延续
This
一个
kind carpenter decided to build a small hut for the homeless man in that space,
那个
almost like an extension of his own house, resembling a storage shed,
事情不
but
大，
well
让
made.
我看了非常
He
感
made
动
it windproof for the winter
所以就在我们这个
and even put in an
培养
electric
自己
fan.
培养孩子哈，
Although it was a small gesture, it profoundly moved me
你要去
to
带着
nurture ourselves and our
这位
children towards
木匠的父
goodness.
亲在做
We
这
must
件事情的
actively
时候
involve
带
our
着他的
children
孩
in
子
such
一起
acts.
来做后来他们的孩子哈，就
When the
不会拿那个
carpenter
零花
father
钱
undertook this
乱
project,
买一些不必要的那些食物
he involved his two children in the
所以
process.
他在过生日的时候，爸爸说买个大
As a
蛋糕
result, the children learn not to squander their pocket money on unnecessary food and toys. For instance, on their birthdays, when their father suggested buying a large cake,
不同的这个
they would propose saving the money to help someone in need instead,
去发给那些流浪汉。
such as buying burgers for the homeless.
那么这个好处是什么呢？其实给孩子
The real benefit of this approach
埋
is
下
that
一
it
个
exposes young children to charity early by sending an
大
impression,
脑之中就是一个印象，
a mental image, into their brain.
你说它有多大的作用吗？
Would you know how powerful that can be?
有交通事故要发生的时候，
Imagine a scenario where a
就是你
traffic
在帮人
accident is about to
做慈善
happen.
的这一刹那间的善意而引发的
The
那种
merit
功
from
德
helping someone
就是
can
车
lead to
毁
a
人
situation.
没事儿，
The car is damaged,
你说车毁
but the
人撞
person
撞
remains
撞
unharmed.
不会，就是因为你做一
That
件
is due
善
to
事
the merit
而
you
引发
gain
的
from
功
your
德
past good deeds.
这件恶事引发的灾
Conversely,
难
doing
都
bad
是
deeds leads to
这个一个数
disaster.
学题哈，就一乘一万。
One
做
small
一件小
wrongdoing
的坏
brings
事
10,000
当回
times
报
more
给你的时候
damages.
有可能是灭顶之灾。 然后做了一件很小的善事，
A minor misdeed can lead to catastrophic consequences, while a small act of goodness can be
那
life-saving.
么带孩子做
That's how it
更多的
works.
好事善事之后，
After engaging in more good
孩
deeds,
子
a child naturally
的
avoids
表现是叫
bad
自动的
influences,
避开了一些坏人、
bad
坏
people,
朋友，还有恶习
and
自动不担
harmful habits.
叫自动不担，是他的理智。其实这个他所谓自动不担坏事的这个行为，还有佛菩萨的
Such
护佑
avoidance comes from the protection
他没有
of the
感觉佛
Buddhas
菩萨
and
护佑是
Bodhisattvas.
我自己就明白，不能和这个坏人交朋友，
Though they may not be aware of
这
it,
是得到的佛菩
they
萨
are blessed with the understanding
所以呢
of avoiding
带孩
bad
子做这些
influences.
好事善事哈，
This site is inspired
这一点对于孩子
by the
的未
Buddha
来
and Bodhisattva, thus involving children in these acts of goodness and kindness.
我这里有一个
It's incredibly important for their future, for them to grow up to be good people.
台湾的高雄人啊，他们都知道。
Here's a story of Grandma Tianyuan from Taiwan. She is well known among the people of Kaohsiung, Taiwan. She regularly set up a small buffet stall under a road bridge in the city park. She offered a variety of dishes, including fish, meat, corn, sausages, and rice. For decades, she provided these meals for just 10 Taiwan dollar each, with unlimited refills. She even let those in dire need eat for free. And sometimes, when these impoverished individuals needed money for other daily necessities, she would help them out. So people might wonder if she was that rich to afford such charitable acts. In reality, her early life was far from affluent. She married at 16 and moved to Kaohsiung. During World War II, her husband was taken to Nanyang to work as a laborer, leaving her alone to support the family by driving an ox cart, fleeing with her children from place to place. She lived in constant fear and hardship until her husband returned from Nanyang. Eventually, the couple rented a warehouse in the Kaohsiung port and started a small company, handling dock loadings and unloadings. It was there that she noticed the dock workers, after a hard day's work, they earned very little. They struggled for food and shelter. Grandma had a very kind heart. She remembered her own hardship and those who had helped her. She set up a shack in front of a warehouse and began offering free meals to these workers. As time went on, she was unable to bear the ongoing expenses. She started charging a nominal fee. Initially, it was just 3 Taiwan dollar, later raised to 5 Taiwan dollar. Her kindness quickly became known, and workers, the poor, and the homeless flocked to her store. On any given day, she served not less than 200 people. Her daughter, Zhuang Yuzhi, helped her out for over 8 years. As a child, she once questioned her mother about why they were running the business at a loss. And she was told that being able to help others when capable is what truly matters. Years later, with rising costs and upon workers' request, the old lady reluctantly raised her meal price to 10 Taiwan dollar. However, she firmly refused to increase it further. Seeing everyone eat their fill brought her great joy. She supplemented her income by collecting and selling recyclables, using gathered wood for fuel. She worked tirelessly throughout the year. Once, on a rainy day, her elder son urged her mother to stay home. But she replied that if she stayed home, the workers would have no food to eat. Over the years, she did more than cook. When the workers couldn't afford to get married, she would help fund their weddings. When her eldest son became successful, he financially supported her to continue her charitable acts. She always believed that those who give are blessed, and those who do good are happy. In 2015, she passed away at the age of 94. Her funeral was attended by over 3,000 people, and the floral tribute stretched over hundreds of meters, which no ordinary funeral has achieved before. Her children, despite their early hardships, all became successful. Her eldest son established a corporate group in Penghu, operating several hotels. Her second son became the vice chairman of the Taiwan Mountain Rescue Association. Her other children own travel agencies and shipping companies. But they have one thing in common, which is the kindness instilled in them by the old lady's charitable deeds. They keep providing food aid in Penghu to low-income individuals, distributing consolation money, offering scholarships to impoverished students. They established the Zhuangzu Yunü charity foundations to continue their mother's legacy of kindness and love. This is the story of Grandma Tan Yuan. A truly touching tale of compassion and impact, and for 50 years. And she run was essentially a loss-making endeavor. In reality, she wasn't running a business. She was expressing her compassion, helping poor people. 10 Taiwan dollars is equivalent to about 30 cents US dollars. She truly is a vulnerable and admirable person. Her children, whenever they could, who helped their mother out to cook and serve the workers. They assisted with everything: serving, washing up, cooking. So this is a perfect example of teaching by example. Her children all turned out to be very successful and capable, excelling in their careers. What I find particularly touching about her is the nominal fee part. She safeguarded the dignity of the workers. That few, they paid for their meals. This is great compassion. Great virtue is unseen, and great sound is silence. A true philanthropist doesn't claim to be doing charity. She is a true philanthropist. From a Buddhist perspective, she was a living bodhisattva. Indeed, she was extraordinary, and her story is truly inspiring. I like to share a story involving Winston Churchill and a scientist named Fleming. Many years ago in the British countryside, there lived an old man named Fleming. Fleming Sr., the father of the famous scientist Alexander Fleming. One day, while working in his field, Fleming Sr. heard cries for help. A child was shouting for his life. Without hesitation, he rushed over and found a young boy who had fallen into the ditch. The child could have drowned, as the muddy bottom was trapping his feet, making it impossible to climb out. Without a second thought, he jumped in and saved the boy. So he checked the boy, ensuring that he was not seriously injured. Soon after, the child's father arrived in a luxurious carriage. The man was Randolph Henry Spencer Churchill, the father of Winston Churchill, the British Prime Minister during World War II. Winston Churchill was known for his intelligence, wisdom, and contributions to world peace. It was actually his father. The saved child was none other than the young Winston Churchill. The Fleming family was financially less fortunate, while the Churchill family, although also living in the countryside, were nobility, and relatively wealthy. So Churchill Sr. said to Fleming Sr., "You saved my son's life. How much money do you need? I'd like to express my gratitude." Fleming Sr. said anyone should have done the same to save a child's life. Money wasn't a consideration in such a situation. That's not what friends do. Fleming Sr. said, "No, no." And Fleming Sr. said this with utmost sincerity. Later, perhaps during a visit to one another home, Churchill Sr. noticed the young Fleming. He inquired about the boy's age. 7 was. They replied, "Are you in school?" "No." As his way of expressing gratitude, Churchill Sr. offered to arrange for the boy to attend a good school and receive a quality education. "Do you think it's okay?" "Please accept my sincere goodwill and blessing," Churchill Sr. said. Fleming Sr. felt this was a great opportunity for the son to get an education. First, for the child to have a skill in the future. Secondly, to be well educated and reasonable. He couldn't afford to provide more tuition for the son to attend a good school in the cities. Quite appealing. Then, I can accept. If it meant educating my child, helping him to become someone useful. All right. Then leave it to me. Churchill Sr. arranged for young Fleming to attend a reputable school. The boy was intelligent and hardworking, and he excelled from primary school through universities, eventually enrolled in a medical school. Perhaps influenced by his father's acts of saving a life, he was fascinated by the importance of human life and health. So he pursued a career in medicine. After graduating from medical school, young Fleming made a groundbreaking discovery, earned him the Nobel Prize. He became the first person in the modern world to discover penicillin. Nearly everyone has been treated with penicillin. It's highly effective anti-inflammatory medicines. Back in the impoverished times and before its inventions, inflammation was a leading cause of death, not cancer. Even today, in poorer countries, many die from diseases like dysenteries and enteritis, which are inflammation related. So you know the importance of penicillin. Everyone has either taken or used penicillin, discovered by Alexander Fleming. So this miraculous story intertwines with the life of Winston Churchill, who became the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom during World War II. Winston Churchill made a visit to Africa after he became Prime Minister. He contracted pneumonia due to the poor sanitary conditions in Africa. This was during World War II, shortly after the inventions of penicillin, which was not easily accessible at that time, and his life was in danger. Fleming, who personally brought the medications, treated him in Africa and saved his life. Afterward, Churchill thanked Fleming for saving his life. Fleming replied that the opportunity came from his father funding his education decades ago. It was Fleming Sr. and Churchill Sr.'s kindness that saved lives, leading to their remarkable achievements later. Stories like this, though not always as grand, are equally touching. There are many more, but we won't go into each one. There are many such stories, so we won't go into each one. Today, as we learn about Buddhism, we have been exposed to teachings. It's said in the Earth Source Sutra that if you venerate or keep the sutra in your home, Or if you even build a statue of earthstone bodhisattvas, they can help you eradicate karmas accumulated over countless generations and lifetimes. And then, what happens? Life becomes more favorable. You find success in buying a house, earning money, and finding a partner. Your wishes will be fulfilled, and everything is auspicious. In contrast, people who are unfortunate lack everything. They have no money, can't find someone to marry, and want to buy a house, but don't have the fun. So some have money but no idea house to buy. They at least feel secure, has some money. Not having enough to buy a house or even to rent a place is a state of lacking basic necessities, having nothing at all. That's a real problem. So in studying Buddhism with me, we learned that Buddhism can enrich our life with wisdom and philosophical insights, enabling us to live better. You will experience a blessed life whilst learning. I was told that Buddhism is about enlightenment, not improvement of our life. But I think without your life, there will be a ghost even if you're enlightened. Think about it. Say a lifetime scoundrel became enlightened just before he died. Do you think he truly had the realizations? I assure you that he did not. He was still deceiving us even in his death. That's not enlightenment. True enlightenment allows one to live a better life. Where lies the difference between being enlightened and unenlightened? An enlightened person is always thinking about how to help and care for others. On the other hand, an unenlightened person focuses on their own needs, food, money. They might even demand money from a wealthy villager simply because they share the same hometown. This is not the right approach. A truly enlightened person has an altruistic heart, always ready to help others. If you have been to higher-end hotels or restaurants, you will notice that the staff always asks, how can they assist you? In South Korea, it's common to press a bell in a restaurant for service. We don't speak Korean, but I think the waiter is asking how they can help us. We've been to a restaurant with a grumpy waiter. I just need one steamed bun. The waiter said, stop eating. You're fat. Don't you know I'm busy? When you seek help from someone, don't you consider their mood? I'm not in the mood to serve you right now. All he thought was about himself. Imagine a married couple, for example. Both the husband and the wife are particularly selfish. The wife is always feeling cold and prefers the temperature higher. The husband, who runs hot, complains that it's too hot. He says he can't stand temperatures above 16 degrees Celsius. The wife says that if it's below 25 degrees, she can stand it. The husband wants colder, while the wife wants warmer. What would you do in such situations? If you could be a little considerate towards others, would that affect our relationship with others? Do you think about the other part? Does either think about the other's comfort? A wife should ask her husband feels. Is it too hot? The husband should ask how the wife feels. If the wife likes 25 degrees, well, adjust it to 25 degrees. There's usually a need for one party to make a sacrifice. Imagine two roommates live in the same room. One prefers it's cooler, another says, I can't fall asleep when it's too cold. The one preferring cooler said, I don't care about him. I'll just set it to 16 degrees and go to sleep. Let the other person freeze to death. Anyway, I have no relationship with him. If the other person is afraid of cold, is your mother, are you going to do the same? If the person is your daughter, what would you do? You may not know the other person. If the other person is a hidden rich lady, will you do things differently? Don't treat people based on whether they are rich. You see a woman and her teeth are not brush cleaned, you think she must not be a rich lady. She doesn't have any luxury brands on her. She couldn't possibly be rich. So we shouldn't care about her, should we? I often talked about historical figures from ancient China. Han Xing was a military genius revered by all military strategies in Chinese history. Han Xing. I admire him greatly for his military prowess. Han Xing came from a noble family that fell into poverty. As he grew up, his family had almost no money left. His ancestors spent all the money, not him. When it came to his turn, how did he get his food and drinks? His sustenance came from the charity of others. In their village, everyone else disliked him for being lazy, stupid, dull, and impolite. They criticized him for not working in the field, questioning if he thought he was still nobility. The farmers condemned him for not working. The rich condemned him for not working despite being poor, saying he deserved to starve. They didn't provide him with food or drink. There was a woman, just an ordinary farmer's wife, who pitied Han and often scolded him. Although she often scolded him for not working and threatened not to feed him if he didn't work, she still washed his ragged clothes and fed him. When Han was in his teens, his intelligence surpasses that of most average person. He just smiled and thanked her kindly, addressing her as big sisters or aunties affectionately. After eating, Han would read his books on military tactics. Eventually, he found his master, who let him command a few thousand soldiers. Within 3 years, he grew his forces to 6,100,000. The big sister never imagined that Han would become a great general, renowned for his military genius in Chinese history. As a token of his gratitude, Han generously rewarded the woman who had taken care of him, making her one of the richest people. He gave her 10,000 taels of gold, an unimaginable fortune for a peasant, enough to buy hundreds, thousands of acres of good land and hundreds of servants. She became a very wealthy woman. Helping others without expecting anything in return is a genuine expression of kindness. Compassion should be an integral part of our lives, not a calculated move based on someone's wealth or status. When a fallen senior needs your help to stand up, do you check on his clothing brand first? Do you judge whether he is an official first?
如果是你的亲人，
Don't do that.
你帮不帮啊？
If they were your loved
这才是真
ones,
正的爱心。
will you help them?
我的
This
深
is
刻的
what
体会
true
就是
kindness is all about.
人自私啊，
My profound realization is that when people are selfish,
就慢慢成为
they
自私的
become
人就成为了小
diminished.
人，叫处处
Gradually,
斤斤计
they
较。
turn into petty
小人
individuals,
交朋友的时候
always nitpickings and calculating
处
in
处
every aspect.
精于算计。
Petty people
上次我儿子
in their
结婚
relationships are
给我
always
30块钱的
scheming
红
and
包
calculating.
啊，
For
好吧
instance, when my
带
sons
着
got
他女儿
married,
出嫁，
my friend
给他
gave
31
a $30 rate envelope.
算计的特别精啊，开车还得算着我的修费呢，特别精于算计，也叫斤斤计较，就是小人，他们不会飞黄腾达，不会成为真
Then,
正
when
的
the daughters
巨
get
富
married, I'll give a
因为
$31
心中的
rate
格局
envelope.
和生命中的
Such
承受力
meticulous
是
calculations,
小的。
even counting gas money
但
when
是呢
driving.
我们在生活中处处能够
These
去关
overcalculations
照
and
他人的
nitpickings
感
defines
受与利益
pettiness.
的话，
They won't soar to great heights nor
对不
become
对？
truly
就像我刚才
wealthy.
讲到的说，
It's because their
你
mindsets
能不
and their
能我能为
capacity
你
to
做什么？
embrace life
那
are
不光是说
limited.
话，是这种思维方式。真为别人去着想的时候，
Think
那
about
你
it.
想，
If you always care
我
about
们的人际
others'
关系会不会
well-being,
改变？
asking them, "Are you
夫妻会
hungry?
不会和睦？
Are you cold?"
谈对象能不
And
能
if
成
you
功？
really think of others'
看你们
benefits,
也谁
not
都
just
喜
talking
欢
like
说，
you
你看你
do,
又照顾
will
我又
improve
赞
your
美我。
relationships with
你
them?
看咱们吃饭的
Will
时
you
候都是
have
你
a
掏钱，
harmonious
很多时候
marriage?
就你看这个
Will you
细致的
find a
行为
partner
啊，就
successfully?
会招人喜欢。
The answer is
总有一
yes.
方要
Everyone would
奉
say
献，
you take care of me and
对不对？
compliment me.
所
You
以
always pay the
奉献
bill
的过
when
程
we
哈，
eating out.
其实
You are
如果你真
attractive
有那
because
种
of your
情感，
considerate
如果
behaviors.
你还有一
Like
份
it or
说
not,
我不认识他，我
none
凭
of
什
you
么照
will
顾他？
have to give
也
in.
就是如果你
The
心中
thing
真
is,
有那
people
份
are
慈悲
unwilling
的
to
话，
offer people they don't know.
你奉献是快
If
乐
you're
的，
compassionate,
但是忍受
offerings
是
makes
有
you
点苦。
happy.
但
The
是你的
offering
快乐
process
正
might
是
be
在这个
tiring,
忍受痛苦的
but
过程中，
it somehow
才
makes
体
you
会到
happy.
一边苦而一边乐。
This is possible.
这种感觉也是一种法喜，
I call
这
this
正是
Dharma
积功
bliss.
累德的好机会。
Offerings as such brings merit, you know.
所以从我们佛陀教化的时候啊，他就特别去明白很多
The Buddha says that calamities, virtues, and wealth
很多
arises from
风格
one's
很
worldview.
多富贵是来自于世界观，是来自于
And how
对
people
善恶
perceive
好
good
坏
and
的
evil
叫做
that
更跨
transcends
越时
time
空的
and
认识，
space.
是这样的。所以佛才
So
说
the
好
Buddha taught us
第
that
一个我们要懂得
firstly,
因，
we must understand cause and
那么
effect.
第二个呢，他讲到一个有
Secondly,
所谓
he
有
spoke
意
a
境的
phrase
有禅意的一句话，
imbued
大家
with
喜欢
zen and profound meaning.
叫一花一世界。
See a world
学佛
in
的
a
中国人
flower.
都应该有这个印象，对不对？
Most Eastern Buddhists are
但是
likely familiar with
后
this
头那句话
concept.
更重要，
However, the
就是
phase
一
that follows is
这
even
个
more
一
important
念一
and
无
easier to
常
understand. One thought
一念
may result in enlightenment.
是意
This
念
one thought refers to a fixed
一念
idea,
意
desire,
念是固定下来的
or
这个意念，
a
或者
directions
叫做愿望，或
of
者
your
是
pursuit
你
of
对
good
善恶
and
追
evil.
求的那个方向，也叫一念。这个理解有点难度哈。
Understanding
这
this
个一
concept
念
can be
把它做
challenging.
有轻的，有
Thus,
重
one
的。
thought can
那
be
么
either
轻的意
light
念是指什
or
么呢？
intense.
就是微小的
A
一
light
个
thought
念
refers to a fleeting ideas.
在学佛人
According to
深入究竟
Buddhists
我们
delving deep
烦
and
恼与内心世界
analyzing
的
the
时候，
intensity
就开
of
始
our
说你
thoughts,
的意念的强烈
it's
程
the
度
simplest
来进
form
行分析的
of
时候，
thought
就
that
发现
arise in one's instance.
一刹那间的这一个念，这个意念，也就是还没有形成最强烈固定的。我们比如说，遇到一条狗无故的咬我，
Say you
我
encounter a
就
dog
路过，
that bites you
我是
unprovoked.
撒腿就跑呢，
You have a
那
split second
我也
decision
被
to
腿
make.
上被咬了2口，
Do
我还
you
是把
run
这个狗
away
打死
because
了
you've been bitten? Or do
这
you
个时候
retaliate
这
and
个一
potentially
念
kill
特别
the
重
dog?
要。一念
Your
如果打死
decision
它
at that
把
moment
狗
is
打死
critical.
了，如果狗
If
确
you
实咬
kill
了
the
你，
dog,
你打
even
死
if
它
it
的狗，
bites you, what
它的主
happens
人
if the
会不会
owners
放过？
confront you?
你看事情的
The
结局
outcome would be
是完全
vastly
不同的
different.
哈，但是这个事
Two
情的开
decisions
头
can be
引
made
发的时候
from the
是
same
一
cause.
样的。
an unprovoked dog bite. You might feel pain and anger because the dog bite you for no reasons. You want to kill the dog. It's a spontaneous thought. Some might react impulsively, hitting and potentially killing the dog. At that moment, the dog's owners came running out, exclaiming, "Who killed my dog?" The owner hasn't seen his dog biting someone, but he saw his dog lying on the ground, bleeding and kicking close to death. Enraged, the owners grabbed a kitchen knife. "Who killed my dog?" Even if the dog killer's life isn't lost, in such a situation, trouble is inevitable. A kinder person might think he could have harmed the dog in his previous life. So now he's facing the consequences. People often ask, "Was I a dog in my past life?" No. Then have you eaten dog meat in this life? What if the dog meat you consumed happened to be from this dog's ancestor? If it bites you, what's the big deal? You took the life and ate the flesh of its ancestor. Being bitten is only a small price for you to pay. You pat your butt and leave. That is an easier way to pay your debt. Remember, you have taken the dog's life after biting you. If the dog doesn't chase you, you just runs away. That's the right thing to do. They show how important one thought is. In this case, a thought of kindness and compassion. These qualities were lacking in immature people. Lao Tzu was a great Chinese philosopher. A high-ranking court officer asked him for advice. As a highly learned and wise elder, I would like to ask for your wisdom. He asked, "What do you want to know?" The official asked what Tao was. Lao Tzu replied, "The way that can be described is not the true way. It's hard to describe the way." He mentioned this philosophical concept. The way is something perceived rather than described. Your view of the way determines your entire life, your worldview, the standards by which you lived, and your standards for educating children. For one's philosophy and value, that's no an absolute, unified, and measurable standard. For the fundamental truths of the world, everyone has their own judgments. A butcher may justify his occupations, saying that he slaughters pig to meet the pork consumption's demand, and he doesn't have other life skills anyway. So police might believe that the world would be in chaos without them. Everyone has his own perspective on the way. With the change of their ages and social positions, people's views of the way will change accordingly. Thus, whether we live a good life or bad one relies on our intentions and how we perceive and value the world. There is no absolute definitions of good and evil in viewing the world. In the context of self-cultivation, one might ask if there is a good and evil. The answer is yes. All these elements exist. Is there an element of goodness within it? Yes, there is. Does it encompass qualities of good and bad? Indeed, it does. And does it include the aspect of being wicked? Yes, it does. But what is truly good? There isn't a single thing that can be defined as good. At this moment, you feel happy and satisfied with the good. The way that can be spoken of is not the constant way, which means there are no absolute standards. There are similarities between the way and names. Names are just markers without absolute truth. The human heart is fickle like clouds, fogs, and rains. That's how it is. I urge you to understand the true nature of things. Kindness and evil are self-made. Although good and evil are not absolute, I remind you to choose kindness. It means acting with the best interests of others in mind, making sure they are not feeling cold. If they feel cold, I'll adjust the temperature higher, make them food. If they're hungry, think about others' benefits, and do more good things for others. The way like this can be described as the way of auspiciousness. It might not be about good or bad, but at least it's auspicious for you, because you are benefiting others. If you're living with someone, regardless of relationships, you set the temperature to your roommate's preference. Will your roommates like you? You may make a good friends. If that person is a destined helper, probably you'll be a better chance to find a good job or a suitable partner. As the saying goes, more friends, more paths, more enemies, more wars. So if you want to integrate harmoniously into society, act with kindness. Considering others' well-being actually brings more benefits to ourselves. While benefiting ourselves, we often end up benefiting others more. Because we are not solely focused on our own needs. People with these traits usually find more joy in groups rather than being alone. People with these intrinsic qualities are destined to be fortunate. By learning to care for others' interests, you gradually become a blessed person. So what else? Parents should lead by example. For the way we are doing things and conducting ourselves, we need to pass down to our children during everyday life. Involve our children when we are doing good deeds. The image that children refer to the most are their parents. The way you do things and interact with others will most likely be followed by your children. To ensure a bright future for our children, we must choose to act with kindness and compassion, teaching them to care for others. To build a successful future for our children and let them live a better and smoother life, we need to learn to involve our children, engaging in charitable acts that benefit society and others. These include religious acts, because where is problems that can't be solved by human intellect or wealth, we often turn to religious faith. The gods have the power far greater than humans in solving these problems. However, in everyday life, we don't interact with gods, but other human beings. That's why one thought is important. A single compassionate thought can lead to a good deed. Remember, compassion is about benefiting others. A mother is compassionate because she cares for her child. An individual with a compassionate nature is likely inclined to do things benefiting others. People who constantly act this way may sacrifice a lot, but in the end, they gain even more. So parents should involve their children in practicing kindness, making sure their compassion gets passed down.
还要传承慈悲。
What is the benefits of doing so?
或者叫慈悲传承。这个好处是什么呢？就是让我们的
This practice will bring prosperity and auspiciousness to our future generations.
因为很多的做父母的
Many parents worry about their children from birth to adulthood. They're concerned about their health, education, and career choices. It's often too late to influence their path once they've grown up. It's challenging to reshape a tree that has grown crooked. Parents must teach their children to be charitable from a young age.
要做慈善的行为。但是长大之后说，如果没有办法，在佛这都有
There's
办
still
法。
hope in Buddhism.
怎么办呢？
How?
点灯、
Light offerings
上香、
and incense
叩
offerings.
头、
Also prostrations,
供
making
养、
donations
布施
and offerings.
啊，还跟我来学习，
Come to our
学
centers
禅
to meditate
学做人，
and do good
你的
deeds.
孩子就有救了。
These practices can
你说
help them.
他都30几、
You may
40
think
了，
it's too late.
70
They are
没
at the
关系
40s.
啊。
It won't be
人
too
凡
late.
是花钱解决不了的
Even
问题，
they are in their
就求神
70s.
求佛
Remember,
吧
when the problems can't be
我
solved
相
by
信是可以
money,
解决的。
we
就是
can
你的心
pray
也没有
to
道理。
gods or Buddhas for
如果
help.
光求佛的
And
话，
I
为什么我
believe
还
the
讲前
issues can be
面这些方法
resolved.
呢？
It's
就是让
about
你的
how
孩
much
子
faith
变
you
成一
have.
种他自觉的成为
If
慈
Buddhism
悲的人
works, why
善
did I
良的人
suggest
利益
so
众生
many
的人
methods
你的孩子
earlier?
就有出息了。
Is to
你看
help
台
your
湾那个老
children
人家，对不
becomes
对？
a
他几个
compassionate,
孩子每一个都是
kind-hearted
走正道，
individual who
做大
benefits
事业。
all sentient beings.
反而是一
This
个
will
大利
ensure
益
they
众
have
生的人，
success in
将来
life.
他们自
Look at
己
the elderly
才能
woman
成就
in
一番伟
Taiwan.
业。
Each of her
这个
children
是我们一个
followed the
很好
right
的典
path
范。
and did good
啊，
deed,
希
great
望你能
deeds,
够
benefiting
听得懂，
many.
还要照着
They
做。
themselves achieve great things.
今
This
天
is
就
an
讲到这儿，
example
谢谢
for
大
us.
家。
I hope you understand and will follow this teaching. Thank you, everyone.
智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了，因为有了你，了解生命的真理，修行的理，因为有了你，日子犹如彩虹般美丽。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了，我快乐了，我美丽了，我幸福了，我美丽了。
在茫茫人海之中，让我与您相遇。小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了。因为有了你，生命变得更坚定，不忧无虑。因为有了你，日子不再有哭泣，不再有空